For anybody that wants to set up a safe space, the first thing is that person has to be dedicated. And that person has to have passion for the work. And then this issue of being patient. Naturally, there is various challenges. It can come from the girls, it can come from their parents, from community members. For any challenge, one needs to be strong and to be willing to have a discussion with head of schools and the community and religious leaders, because there is no problem that has no solution. It is very important to have transparency and bring along everybody that needs to be brought on the table. The major tips for engaging with stakeholders is when you go there to them, you are going there to say, this is what I have. And it is now for them to bring out the way that we can go about succeeding in achieving what you have for them. We want a situation where the community feels that they own the program, because it is not something that we are dictating to them. It is more of a collaborative effort. How do we do it? Because sometimes you find out that the way we do in one community might be different from the way we operate in another community. Before going to any community, we always tend to know the statistics of the girls, number of girls in those communities that are not in school, the numbers that are in school. We always have about 2 to 3 months for all the processes to be in place. The visit to the community leaders and getting them to understand what we're there for takes like 2 to 3 weeks. The community and religious leaders now talk to parents, and then there will be a meeting for us with the parents. What we do is for them to understand that we too are from communities like theirs, and we were opportuned to be educated, and that is what we want for other girls. We don't discuss issues that has to do with delaying marriage or anything with them. But when they are able to stay in school, naturally, they tend to delay the age of marriage. Some parents will say, we don't want our children to be part of this, and some readily accept. We call the fathers for a meeting for them to give permission for the girls to be in the safe spaces. Initially, the fathers too will want to ask several questions about what the safe space is all about. Why are we not taking the boys into consideration? And when they find out that it is more cost-effective for them, they don't have to pay anything for it. It makes them want to allow the children to be in the safe spaces. They say, if you want us to pay for anything, we will not. But since it is free, they are readily accepting it. And then the parents will bring the girls for enrollment. The meeting with the mothers is very important, because sometimes the mothers are those that will decide whether the girl will be in the safe space or not. Although we tend to think that it's the men. The men have given permission, they are out there, but the mother may say no, because she wants the girl to go hawking and bring back the little support, economic support for the family. Mostly the fear of the community is that these people want to make our girls to be wild so that they don't respect us and behave the way they are. We explain to them that education is key to everything. Even for them to better get involved with the religion and cultural activity of the community, they need education. When we talk to them, mostly we want them to tell us what the importance of education is from their religious background and from the culture too. And from there, things come out, and it is from them, and they now accept. We have challenges of some mothers coming to the safe space and telling the mentor that you have to buy this because my daughter is supposed to be where she's selling this, and you kept her here for too long, so I don't know what I will do with what I've prepared for sale. So you have to buy it and give me back my money. But gradually things are changing because the mothers are seeing the importance too, and they are now reducing that economic burden on the girls, not like before. Whatever they sell, they do it at home. And most of the communities where we have our safe spaces, now the girls don't go hawking, only few of them. The role model mothers are mothers that champion the cause of the girl child. They encourage women that their children are not in school to ensure that they take their children to school. And the role model mothers too encourage women that are pregnant in the community to go for antenatal care, for them to be able to reduce this issue of maternal mortality and morbidity. So they are like spokespersons for the cause of the girl child. Mostly we have 20 women in each community and 20 men. The men are community champions, and they play almost the same role with the role model mothers. And it's a volunteer work. We have a facilitator that goes there once a month to discuss with the role model mothers and the community champions separately on issues that are affecting the women, the girl child, and what they need to do as a community to be able to help one another. And this has yielded great success because they now form a committee where if any woman that is in labor needs assistance to go to the hospital, they get the vehicle, they ensure that she's taken to the hospital, and they support her to be able to pay for whatever bill they have in the community. And if there is any girl that wants to be in school and her parents refuse, if she comes to them, they, with the help of the community leader, will ensure that she moves into school. We have school safe space and community safe spaces. And the space where the safe space holds is provided by community leaders if the safe space is in a community, and the school if it is in the school. And mostly it is from 15 to 20 girls. When the girls are 25 and above, they are more of a classroom than a safe space. Mostly it is a 2-hour safe space. For the in-school, it is once in a week. And for the out-of-school, it is 3 times in a week. For the first hour, it is completely literacy and numeracy. And then for the second hour, life skills or reproductive health information or the vocational skills. And we encourage our girls that whatever they learn in the safe space, they should take it back home and teach their younger ones and children of their neighbors. Because of the girls not being exposed at a younger age to reading and writing, mostly they find it boring. So in the safe spaces, we introduce different types of energizers to boost the morale of the girls for them to want to continue learning. Energizers are like songs and like actions that will make the girls feel that they are not stressed up. They enjoyed it a lot, and mostly it comes from them. We learn from the girls. We ask them, what are those songs that you will share with us so that we'll do it? And the mentor is always participating because we want them to feel that we are connected. So whatever the girls brings out, the mentor learns, and then they do it together. Mostly, girls don't have a say in their marriage, especially the first marriage. The parents decide who the child should marry. And when she is called to hear from her or to hear if she gives her consent, mostly they don't say anything. And parents tend to think that silence is affirmation, that yes, they agree. For the life skills, we have a variety of topics. For example, one is negotiation skills. For the girls to be able to understand that they can negotiate with their parents or with their fiancé that they want to continue schooling, and that if the husband wants to marry them, he should please wait for them to complete a level of education. And this helped the girls to understand that as human beings, they too have the rights to be able to say yes and to be able to say no. Mostly in the Hausa culture, the mother tend to shy away from such discussion of reproductive health information. We have so many challenges with some mothers. Some mothers tend to think that the girl does not need to know because she's young. And there is an instance where in a community, a mother came to the mentor and said the mentor wants to teach her child to be wayward, shouted abusive words to the mentor. But our mentor knew that they don't retaliate, they don't talk, they must be very patient. So whenever there is such problems, they come back to the organization to tell us. And when she reported, we went to the community leader and explained the issue with the mentor and the mother of the girl to the community leader. And we now sat with the men, that is the fathers of the girls, and we discussed this. And the fathers now suggested that there is need for us to get all the mothers of the girls in that community so that we'll be able to discuss this issue. And when they called the meeting, we went there. I took the session on menstruation, and I did it the way we do it in the safe space for the mothers. And after that, all the mothers were very happy, and they said, this is something that we need to know. And the mother that was very wild now came back to apologize to the mentor and said that she misunderstood, that she never knew that this was what the child was learning in the safe space. In the different safe spaces that we run, that is the in-school and out of school, we segment the girls by age. For example, those that are from 10, 11 to 14, and then those that are from 14 to 18 in the same safe spaces because they have more things in common. And for the out of school, the adolescent married girls are in different safe spaces, while the adolescents that are not married and are not in school are in the same space because they have things in common. And it is easier for the mentors to work with those age ranges. The transition from primary to secondary school and from junior secondary school to senior secondary school is mostly the critical time for dropouts of many girls. So for in-school 10 to 14-year-old, our major focus is on them learning to read and write, and for them to understand the importance of staying in school, that they transit to secondary school, and make sure that they are retained in the school. What we do mostly for girls that are 15 to 19 is to bring in role models from different professions for career guidance. For example, we bring an educationist, a nurse, a trained nurse, a midwife, a medical doctor, all female, for them to talk about their stories, how they were able to reach where they are, to motivate them and encourage them to say that they can do it and they can be what they want to be. The 10 to 14 years that are out of school are the most vulnerable of the girls because they don't have a voice at all. And they see themselves as that they have overgrown school age because they have never attended primary school or they have dropped out of primary school. And what we do for these girls is to ensure that they have that network and connection, especially with our cascading mentors, for them to know that there are people in their community that are there to support them. We provide them with hijab that have our organization's logo, for them to feel that sense of belonging, to feel that they too have something in life that they are looking forward to achieving. Even the alphabets, we do it in a song way so that they will enjoy it and will want to go. And there are so many energizers for them because they love it. And after a year, we see those that are potential girls that can go back to formal schooling. And we go to the zonal education secretary and the headmasters of the school to discuss about enrolling these girls back. And mostly they support us. And we get these girls back to school. We support them with uniforms, sandals, socks, school bags, books, and they always feel happy. It is very essential to provide them with all their school materials and uniform especially, because the parents mostly cannot afford it. That is why the girls are not in school. And when we are able to move them into formal schooling, we create a separate safe space for those that are in school, so that we continue to help them with intensive literacy and numeracy for them to be able to cope with their peers in school.
Should be big.
For the out of school 15 to 19 years old, most of them at this age are married. We group them according to their age, according to their marital status, and according to their academic status too. There is intensive literacy and numeracy, especially for those that have ever been to school, for us to see how we can get them back to school. And we talk with the community and religious leaders and their husbands and fathers, for those that are not yet married, to support the girls to go back to school. The mother-in-laws and the husband sisters are helping to take care of their babies while they are in school. For those that cannot go back to school because they cannot cope with schooling, we intensify the vocational skills and entrepreneurship skills for them to learn a trade that they can be able to support themselves with. For example, sewing, knitting, making things for sale. And there is financial literacy too, for them to be able to know how to manage their finances. And we set up loan schemes for them to open an account, a joint account, to start working together and start saving together. For example, 5 girls learning how to sew. It will not just be a one person's business, but a joint business which will be stronger for them and will keep the business growing. The girls that learn the vocational skills, mostly you find out that in their family, there is now a better way of communication between them and maybe their husbands and their mother-in-laws. They tend to have more respect because they are able to earn for the family. And people see them as somebody with a future. And so that respect, they always tend to tell us that they are involved in decision making because they now have a little economic power. So our main source of funding in Center for Girls Education is from donors. And majorly, for each project, we have a number of girls that we need to reach and the number of mentors that will be able to cover for the safe spaces. And mostly we pay 3,000 naira or 2,000 naira, depending on what the project has to offer. But we always discuss this with the mentors for them to see, so for transparency, for them to know that this is what the grant has and this is what we can be able to afford for us to support their transportation to the safe spaces. I think the minimum of if you starting to see the changes about 6 to 9 months. That is when you start seeing things happening in the safe spaces. You start seeing the impact. Because at the beginning, you might think that nothing is happening, things are just the way they are. But after 6 to 9 months, you now start seeing, without anybody saying, that change is really coming, because the way the girls behave initially has even changed. Because in most new safe spaces, when the girls come, they don't even greet the mentor. They just sit down and they are not like friendly. They are very quiet and reserved, very shy. But gradually, you see the changes. When they come in, they smile at the mentor. Then it's like extending hands for greetings. Then this hugging starts. They hug the mentor. And that is just the beginning. And you find out that their interaction with one another to changes because they are more supportive now. They listen to one another and they are ready to help one another.